Now at 4, your community focus. After a year that has been dominated by the coronavirus, you might be reflecting on the importance of your mental health for 2021.
And with vaccines on the way, there are reasons to be optimistic. Joining us now via Zoom, lifespan psychologist Dr. Ernestine Jennings. Doctor, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Doctor, I think there was this notion that when we rang in 2021, it would be a fresh start. But there's no secret that the first week of 2021 has been anything but quiet. So what do you recommend to folks who might be finding themselves a little overwhelmed by the recent news headlines?
Well, one of the things I really work on with people is slowing things down. So really focusing on the things that are going well and being able to pay attention to those things. Nothing changes overnight, and so just to remain focused on the things that they can control.
And certainly along those lines, new year, fresh start, so many of us have. We're still very much in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. And we know people are feeling fatigued, certainly, as the unstable conditions continue. Any other pointers you can offer to mentally deal with the fact that, yes, when we hit midnight on New Year's Eve, it wasn't a magic wand. Nothing really changed, at least in terms of COVID and its impact on our lives.
Right, nothing changed. But the other thing, like I said, is focusing on what they have. You know, this time of year is a time of renewal. We often think of goal setting and things like that. So thinking about still setting plans for things that you want to do, things that you want to look forward to, and being able to have realistic ideas there. It's still helpful and it's energizing.
Yeah, you mentioned setting some goals, but also making sure that they're realistic. And I know a lot of folks make pretty big New Year's resolutions, but I've heard that trying to make a large commitment to yourself to start the new year might not actually be that great of an idea for your mental health. So is that your opinion too, that the pledges to yourself should be on the smaller side?
Well, I think it can be both ways. So setting that large goal, that gives you the motivation to kind of get up and do it. And then I think what happens is people peter out or they get upset because they don't meet those expectations. So what I work with people a lot of times doing is just resetting your expectations, breaking that goal down into, small chunks so that you can meet it, not that it's all over. Because I think that we don't want you to lose that motivation. We want you to keep that, but we also want to make sure it's something that you can do.
I like that. It's okay to have the big goal, but then scale it back as we move along and we see what this year's really like. All right, so we do have a question. We do have a question for you as well. As a psychologist during COVID, both in terms of being able to do your job, actually work with people, but also what you're seeing among the patients you're talking to.
Yeah, so in terms of being able to do my job, it has been an amazing opportunity to have telehealth to do my job. It's one of the concerns I had initially was how will patients react, and I've been pleasantly surprised at how open they are and how easy it has been to get once things are up and going and the technology is in agreement, to really reach out and stay in touch with people during this time of uncertainty. So that's really what patients have been reaching out about, just feeling more uncertain about things. That's when there's been a lot of loss. So helping people deal with grief and manage those issues as they go on. And not just loss of life, but loss of plans, loss of hopes that they had planned for those times, connections with family members. So figuring out ways to manage that has been something that we've worked through.
Dr. Jennings, I'm going to be really honest here. I was not super stressed out in 2019, but 2020 made me stressed out and anxious in ways that I've never felt before. So for folks like me who've maybe never experienced these feelings before, can you walk us through what maybe unusual signs and symptoms we should be looking out for? Because I know anxiety manifests itself in ways that we might not be looking for. And what should folks do if they're feeling that way? Absolutely.
So one of the things that people who've never experienced anxiety or worry, it might take them by surprise. And I've had a lot of people say, even so to the extreme of having a panic attack, right? And where they really felt like they were dying, your heart's racing, and then they end up going maybe to the hospital and finding out that it's a severe reaction to anxiety and worry. And realizing that happens, and it can be out of the blue, and it doesn't mean that you're not in control of who you are. It means that there are strategies that we can use to help you manage that over time. I encourage people to reach out to their physicians, reach out to social support, people, their agencies that can help refer you to help. There's more online help these days. So recognizing that angst that you feel, there are people that can help. There's a way to deal with it, to manage it, and be okay with that. Uncertainty is something that a lot of people, it kind of throws us off. Increased stress our body starts to, our stomach can change. Like we feel more irritable, and things that didn't bother us start to bother us more. That can be a reaction to this uncertainty and worry that we have about our future, which is realistic in this time.
I think we've all experienced some of that.
Yes.
Dr. Ernestine Jennings, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, and keep breathing.
Yes.
Deep breath.
We will do that, absolutely.